Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play Broken Sword 2, and when last we left off, George has followed the trail to here, Marseille, where he's trying to find where Nico has been taken to. We have to get over this fence and into that area, but there are two things that are stopping us from doing so. Well, in fact, there are three things, technically, because there's also the lock that we can't unlock. There's the Watchman in Miss Watchman's hut that certainly doesn't want us to go past, and there is a holiday, which means that even if we wait for this place to be open, we have to wait a month, and I think a month is just a little bit too long. And there's also 20, the guard dog. The guard dog most certainly does not want us to go by. We have to find a way to distract both the Watchman and the guard dog. And I think I know a way to distract the Watchman at least, and that is this very obvious chimney. It's slowly letting smoke out from the stove inside that building. If we could find a way to block it somehow, we could force a buildup of smoke inside the hut, and then hopefully the guard would have to leave the hut. But that's not really going to help us, because A, we can't get into the hut, and B, even if we did that, I imagine the Watchman would only be here, and that would actually be even worse, because both of them would be able to notice us going over the fence. Clearly we're going to have to do something else, but we can try and manipulate this. Let's see what happens, shall we?
Ouch! That's hot.
We'll need to find a way to cool that down. There's nothing here but detritus, but there is a way over here that we can go. Let's go there, shall we? Aha! We have found the sea. And we found all the rubbish that's floating in the sea. I imagine half of this was dropped down that small hole. Let's have a look at that hole. Walk over there, George, to get a better look.
The opening in the floor led up into the Watchman's hut.
I don't suppose we'll just be allowed to go up there. Or maybe we can. Hello! We could try and grab things, but I really don't think that's going to work. We could try and talk to you. Hello!
Excuse me? Huh? Who's there?
That looked like it hurt, George. But at least we can now see that there are things over here that we can look at. There is that bottle. There's also 20 who we can interact with from here. And apparently there's something here, too.
The platform was held up by a hinged bracket. I couldn't figure out what it was for. Maybe it was part of a structure which no longer existed.
It looks like we can lower that platform, but can we reach it?
My arms weren't long enough to reach the platform.
No, we can't. Let's have a look at this bottle, shall we? I'm sure it'll be important.
Bobbing up and down in the oily water was the Watchman's discarded beer bottle.
Soon to be a part of our inventory.
The bottle was just out of reach. Nothing was going to get me into that water if I could help it.
So this bottom section of the game is literally, hey, you can't reach things. I hope there's something here that can help you reach things. We haven't got anything in particular. We don't have anything long enough. There is one thing here that is very distinctive. That is distinctive. That is also pretty distinctive. It most certainly stands out compared to all the other stuff in the water.
A short stick of wood floated near the edge of the landing stage.
We could do with a short stick of wood. Let's grab it.
The stick had a hook on one end. I figured it was a boat hook for hooking boats.
That is some good deduction there. Let's have a look at it in our inventory, shall we?
It was a short wooden-handled boat hook.
I bet we can use that both on this and also to get that bottle. Let's try this first, shall we? See what it does. Well, that's what it does, but can we get it back to how it was?
It was a platform which could be raised or lowered.
Let's see if we can raise it from here. That's handy. I'm sure that won't be used for anything. Maybe we'll have to dunk the Watchman into the water. I don't think that would be a long-term solution. But maybe we can use this stick to grab the bottle. I don't know why we need it, but we might as well grab it.
I just knew that boat hook would be useful for something. As for the bottle, even if I couldn't find a use for it, I'd cleaned up the dock a little.
I'm sure we'll find a use for it. We can have a look at 20 from here. Maybe we'll get a different description.
The guard dog was staring at me, with a hungry look in his eyes.
It's hungry. Good to know.
Hey, 20.
I don't think 20 is going to answer you, but I think we've done all that we can achieve here, at least for now. Let's, go up back to here. We need to get the, Watchman out of that hut. We have a way that we can get in, and that's from the, beneath area, through that hatch. We need to remove this. Maybe we can use, these to, remove this.
The panties would not have been thick enough to shield this level of heat.
Fair enough, so they won't be helpful. What about the... Aha! The tequila worm! Okay, that's not going to do anything. What could we use? Let's have a look at the bottle.
It was the beer bottle that slob of a watchman had dumped in the sea, now half full of filthy dock water. The label read, Surge, the beer that clears your head.
Ah, it's full of water, is it? Water could do a trick. Let's give it a go.
The bottle was half filled with water. Maybe it would cool the cone down enough to touch it.
Maybe it will. Let's try and grab it.
Now I could see into the pipe which formed the chimney.
Excellent. Let's have a look at the pipe.
That chimney looked very exposed without its cone.
That is an obvious hint that we're going to have to stuff something down there, but we do now have a cone in our inventory. Let's have a look at it.
It was the metal cone I'd taken from the chimney of the watchman's hut.
That'll certainly be useful. At some point. Everything that George picks up is useful at some point. Even if you don't think it would be.
It was the empty beer bottle which that slob of a watchman had dumped in the sea.
Okay, what could we put in there? We could put this in there! No, we can't. Can we put these in there? No. I know something that could roughly fit in there. It's sort of the right shape, and that is the bottle. Although that's not a very great puzzle, the fact that we use an item once and then we use it immediately again. But it's worth a try.
The bottle had blocked the chimney, and the hut was filling up with smoke.
Well, that certainly worked. We could talk to him and see how he's taking to the situation.
Is something wrong?
Something wrong? I nearly choked to death.
Why don't you get some air? Take a long walk along the pier. I could stay here and watch the gate.
Oh, no. You'd be through that gate as soon as my back was turned.
With that crazy dog around? Someday I hope to have kids.
So he's not going to take a long walk along the pier. But currently he's not in the hut, and we could use that to our advantage. Let's go in the hut and see what we can grab, which will pretty much be everything we can possibly try to grab. Off we go! Well, there's one item which is very obvious, and that's this. Let's grab it.
The packet was full of dog biscuits.
And there's something else that we want to have a look at, and that is this.
baked beans in ketchup.
I don't think we're going to be grabbing any of that. We could grab some coal, though. You never know, we might find a use for it.
Someone had once told me a piece of coal brought you luck. Who was I to argue with irrational superstition?
You know, if somebody decides to search you if you go through security at the airport, they're going to have a lot of questions to ask with the inventory that you currently possess, George. Can we grab any of this?
It was a filthy, stained coffee mug.
Let's have a look in it.
That mug was a health risk. I decided to leave it where it was.
Fair enough. Anything else that we can have a look at?
It was a filthy,
No, that's the mug and the let's look at the coffee pot.
It was an old blackened kettle.
There we go. Let's have a look at it.
I couldn't think of one good reason to steal the Watchman's kettle.
That has never stopped you before, George. Anything else we can have a look at? We can have a look at this.
It was the Watchman's overcoat.
Anything in it?
I wouldn't have considered wearing it if it had been the last coat on Earth.
And there's one more thing that we can do, I think, and that is that, we can try and leave this way. I don't think that's going to end well. Oh, there's something there, too.
It was a box of blank forms.
Let's grab one.
The box contained nothing but blank forms.
Let's grab one, George. Okay, you're probably not going to grab one. You never know when a piece of paper may come in handy. Let's do the silly thing and walk out this way. I'm sure it'll go fine.
What the hell do you think you're doing? Get the hell out of here.
Okay, just hold on to that dog.
So we can't go that way. That makes sense. Let's, leave, shall we? Okay, that's likely the game saying, hey, you've done everything you need to up there, so we're going to make it so that you can't go back up there anymore. We have 2 new items, the dog biscuits and the lump of coal.
It was my lucky piece of coal.
And very lucky it is indeed, George.
It was the box of biscuits I'd taken from the Watchman's hut. Gourmet dog. The snack your dog would bake himself. Sure, as if I'd let a stupid dog loose in the kitchen. There was a cute picture of a boxer dog wearing oven mittens.
Maybe we can distract the dog with these. It's worth a go. Let's use them.
Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy.
Did that work? I don't know if that worked. The dog hasn't moved. I want the dog to move to here. Maybe I should use this on the platform instead.
Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy.
That's better. And now we're going to dunk the dog into the water. I'm sure 20 will be fine.
I felt a slight twinge of conscience as I prepared to give the dog a dunking. It soon passed. As I'd expected, the dog could swim like a dog.
Off you go, 20! Be free! More importantly, be away from the fence so that I can climb over. I think we finally solved this puzzle. And off we go, over the fence and into the area we're really not meant to be in. And we still have the dog biscuits just in case we need them. We're not likely to need them. You're not being very sneaky there, George. At all. I believe we have found where Condor Transglobal is. It's right here, but there are many other things that we could look at first, like this and that. I'm sure that will be useful for something. Let's start here.
The doors looked 100 years old, but they were still very sturdy.
How sturdy?
A sturdy chain and padlock hung around the door handles.
Nothing that a handy dart can't pick, right?
That would never work.
Okay, maybe not. There's a thingamy here, though. Let's have a look at the thingamy.
The clamp was held in a mechanism which forced its jaws open.
Curious. I'm sure that'll be useful for something at some point.
It was a beautiful piece of 19th century engineering, but not a lot of use to me.
Oh, you'll be surprised, George. I'm sure it'll be very useful for you.
It read Pont de Nord, fine wine producers. I didn't recognize the label.
Fair enough. Let's try and use these things.
I decided not to tamper with the clamp. Those jaws looked like they could snap shut at any moment.
Well noted.
I couldn't reach the wheel and couldn't see any point in climbing up to it.
I'm sure we'll be climbing up to it at some point.
The doors looked 100 years old, but they were still very sturdy.
Alright, we probably can't open these ones either.
A sturdy chain and padlock hung around the door handles.
That makes sense, but this we definitely want to look at.
It read Condor Transglobal. I'd come to the right place. Now all I had to do was get inside.
I'm sure we can do that, George. Can we take the sign?
The sign looked as if it was firmly attached to the wall. Anyway, I didn't really want it as a souvenir.
And that's what you think. Let's find an item that will allow us to take it. Like this here. Okay, we can't take it, but there is a door here that we can hopefully get through.
That door seemed to be the only way into the warehouse.
Maybe we'll try it. There's also a small window.
There was a little grill set into the door.
Excellent. We'll try and knock on the door. It might work.
The din must have drowned out the sound of my knocking.
I think you're referring to this din here, which is the fan. Let's go up this ladder then.
The ladder led up to a walkway which stretched the length of the building.
Also, I highly doubt that you can see that ladder right now, George, as you haven't actually gone round the corner. But never mind, you know that it's there, so we're going to climb it. Up you go! I'm sure you won't fall to your doom.
Maybe there was a way in up there.
Please don't fall to your doom. Now I imagine we can look at things here, like this.
A fine old oak barrel.
Let's try and use it. Okay, that's a trap if ever I've seen one. We're gonna have to knock somebody into the water with that. It is so obviously a trap, the way that it moves down there, swings with force. That's definitely gonna knock somebody in the water. But who? And why? More importantly, there are windows that we can look at here. Let's have a look inside Condor Transglobal before we try and head in.
The window looked like it hadn't been opened for many years.
Let's look through.
The window was jammed shut.
That one's not going to help us, but what about this one?
The window wasn't fully shut.
Now that one will help us, and I bet we can get a better look. There's a lot that we can look at here, like this person.
It was the creep who kidnapped Nico, and I had a score to settle.
Let's have a conversation then, through the window. I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
I wouldn't have been hurt over the din of the fan.
That's fair enough, the fan is literally right by your ear. There's also somebody else here, and lots of boxes.
The room was filled with transglobal crates.
And what about you?
The guy was partly hidden behind a stack of crates.
And I bet we can't talk to him either.
I wouldn't have been hurt over the din of the fan.
there's this fan that keeps being mentioned. We're probably going to have to do something about that, because that fan is stopping this person from hearing us knocking on the door. A door that is very, very well secured, I might add.
It was a powerful fan.
Soon it's going to be a non-working fan, for we could stick many things into the mechanism to break it. Like this.
I wasn't convinced that was the right thing to do.
Fair enough. What else could we put in there? What about the tequila worm?
Wrong, wrong, wrong.
Alright, George, it's wrong. Not gonna put the tequila worm in there. What about your lucky piece of coal?
No.
Oh. What about the dog biscuits?
That wouldn't work.
Alright, what about the obvious item, which is the long stick? Surely this will work.
That did the trick. The fan clunked and shorted out as its blades were mashed by the boat hook.
Hey, you make any more noise, I break your arms.
That bully needed to be taught a lesson.
Garzak's already mad because we didn't get the stone. You give me any trouble, I'll tell him it was all your fault.
Karzak? That must be his boss.
Well, we've learned something.
The fan was a real mess. A splintered boat hook, dented blades, and a shorted motor.
That's probably not going to hold forever. We could try and talk to you.
I decided there was a better way to attract their attention.
Probably by using that door. And when we come back, folks, we will try to use that door. We most certainly need to get in there, and we can't use the door from here. We'll have to go back down the ladder. And so, I'll catch you next time, folks, and I'll see you then. Later.